it's Anya here, and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks. This video tutorial is part of the series of our Autumn CAL 2024 based on characters of the books by Beatrix Potter. I have named the rows of this blanket according to the characters in Beatrix Potter's books, and we will go on adventures with them. This blanket is called Windermere, according to the location where Beatrix Potter used to spend her summers and where she moved to later on in her life, and also where lots of her stories take place. The free pattern on the blog will be there for 6 months, and after that it will go to a paid pattern only. Each week you will meet 5 Beatrix Potter friends, and these will be stitch rows that you will be repeating throughout that week. You will repeat the rows of stitches in order 6 times, giving you 30 rows to crochet each week. You will find the colours for these rows in the colour table linked in the description box.
In this week's story, we are reading about how Benjamin Bunny will help Peter to get back his jacket and shoes which he lost in week 1. During their adventure, they also collect onions in the red hanky Peter was wearing. What will Mrs. Rabbit say now that Peter returned home with his jacket and some onions?
So here we are, ready to start week 3. So you will have finished in a different colour, but obviously that doesn't matter. I'm just doing a sampler here, and I'm just using the first 5 colours of each week. So the new colour that you need to get out is Flamingo. So make sure you go to the colour table to find out your colours. Pull it through, and we're going to do the part in the pattern row that is bold, which of course is what we need to do to make our box for the border. So chain 1, you turn, double crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, skip 1 and a double crochet on top of that double crochet. There we go. So that's the box made. Now let's see how we can get started for the repeat that we are doing. Before we start the repeat, we have to skip 1 stitch. Then the repeat starts, 3 double crochets into the next stitch. So this is the next stitch, 3 double crochets. Now we have done this row before, this Flopsy row, and do you remember you had to put your 3 double crochets first of all on top of the stitch, and then skip 2 stitches, and then we had the location where we had to put it around the chain space. And I did mention you would get used to it, and I did mention it would come back. So here it is back. Okay, 1, 2, and here we are on top of the stitch. So really you need to just remember that you have to put 1 around the chain space, 1 on top, making sure that you are skipping 2 stitches each time. So towards the end of the row you should have 63 clusters, and I have done 9 of them. And then here we are going to skip 1 stitch just the way we started, and then the next stitch is there ready for us to put our double crochet in, the chain 1, skip 1 and the double crochet for our border box. There we go, and I'm not pulling through because of course, yes, I am already changing colours.
And then now on to row 2, Benjamin Bunny. Benjamin Bunny is a little bit of a rascal. He runs around and goes into gardens, and he's a flyaway rabbit.
So I have called these stitches flyaways. Right, let me explain. So pull through your next colour, and we start the row 2 with our turning chain. We turn, we do the double crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch. Then we are going to look at our clusters. So we have 3 stitches in a cluster. The first 2 stitches, we're going to place a double crochet on top of those. So 1 double crochet into the next stitch and 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Then this 3rd stitch, we're not going to place in there, but we are going to place it as a double crochet. So you yarn over. We're going to place it here. So we're going to locate it here. So you take your hook, place it right in front of this cluster, go through, bring up your yarn, make sure you pull it up high enough so it doesn't pull it all together. Now you're going to pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so we're doing a double crochet, but we are not locating it in the 3rd stitch. So let me show you again. So the next cluster, in the 1st stitch you do a double crochet, in the next stitch you do a double crochet, then you yarn over, you go in between the 2 clusters, you bring up a loop, wiggle wiggle a little bit, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And make sure you don't use this stitch here because that's the 3rd stitch of your cluster. Okay, so we're looking at the stitches of the cluster. I mean, to be honest, you are skipping this one, but you are doing it over here. Okay, so first of all, we place 2 double crochets on top of our cluster. Then for the 3rd one, we're going to go back in between the 2 clusters in front of this cluster. And this is how you are going to continue. And I'm calling this the flyaway stitch because that 3rd one just flew away. There we go. And I am loving the effect. And I hope you do too. And it is quite easy if you keep looking at the clusters, okay? Because you might feel like you're skipping a stitch, but you're not because you're doing it over here. There we go. Okay. And of course you will be doing 63 flyaways and I will be doing 9 of them. So I'm now at the end of the row, and although this stitch is unused, I have done that flyaway, so that's fine. Then here, the next stitch, I am going to make my box. So a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 and double crochet in the last stitch. So I'm going to cut off the yarn and go on to my next colour. We are using Orchid for the next colour, and row 3 is called Cottontail. We've had a Cottontail row before, but this one is a lighter version. Okay, so in week 3 we are going to have a lighter version of the Cottontail row. So what does that mean? So as you can see, I have made the box for the border. So make sure you start with doing that. And then this time we are going to be placing popcorns, yes, but we're going to create them using 4 double crochets. So here in week 1 we did a Cottontail row and we used 5 double crochets. This week we're going for a lighter version, or should I call it a diet version, and we're going to go for 4 double crochets. So along the side of the flyaway, that means here, this side here, we are going to be placing a 4 double crochet pop. So that means we're going to be placing it around this here. So let's do 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then of course you pull up your loop and don't get confused with that 5th one here. So you count back 1, 2, 3, 4, go into 4, because of course this one here is your border, double crochet. You're going to put the loop back around your hook, tighten it and pull it through the stitch. There we go. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Then in the next location, alongside the flyaway, we're going to place 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pull up a loop, count back 4, into that stitch, put the loop around, pull it through the stitch and chain 2. And the same thing again. And I know that these popcorn rows take a little bit longer to do. But in this blanket this time, I really wanted to have lots of structure and lots of fun things. And yeah, popcorns, they give such a lovely effect. And so yes, let's just put them in. I promise we'll do less of them in the next blanket. Right. So you will be doing 63 popcorns in this row, and I will see you when I have done my 9. So I've done my last cottontail light version of a popcorn, 2 chains, and now I'm just going to skip the rest of this cluster and I'm going to get started with doing my double crochet for my box for the border. So a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 and a double crochet in the last stitch. There we go. So now I'm going to cut off this colour. And we go on to soft peach. And row 4 is Mrs. Rabbit. Now we have met Mrs. Rabbit before, so let's see if we still know her. So pull through your new colour and let's get started with the chain 1, turn, double crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, skip 1 and a double crochet on top of that next double crochet there. Voila. Now we are going to do clusters, and we have to start with 2 double crochets in the first location. Then in all the chain 2 spaces we're going to be placing clusters of 3 double crochets, and we only place 1 double crochet after that last cluster there. So let's get started. 1, 2 and 3. So you should be doing 62 clusters, and then you'll have 2 double crochets at the start, 1 at the end, and then of course you'll have your boxes as well. So at the end of the row here, I'm going to go in between the cluster and the double crochet, place my 1 double crochet, then here I'm going to do my double crochet for the box, chain 1 and a double crochet, and not pull through the last pull through. There we go. So that is Mrs. Rabbit. We are reacquainted. So pull through the next colour. Let's do a Peter row, and of course Peter is boxes. So we start with the chain 1, you turn, double crochet in the same stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch, and this is how you will continue all along your row. That is the Peter row finished, and with that I have finished the 5 rows for this week. So these are the rows we did this week. So we did a Flopsy row, which we already knew about. So that was on top of the stitch with a cluster or around the chain space. Then we met Benjamin Rabbit, who is a flyaway. So we created a very special stitch that flew away. Then we had a lighter version of the cottontail popcorns. We also met Mrs. Rabbit again with her 2 stitches to start with, then 3 double crochets into the chain spaces, ending in 1 stitch there. And then of course we had Peter Rabbit, the boxes row, which is keeping this blanket together. I hope you have enjoyed meeting your friends for this week, and I hope they will keep you company throughout the 30 rows of crocheting that you will be doing. I would love to see any progress you make, so please post a picture of your story so far in the Facebook group, Ophelia Talks Crochet. If you have any questions or remarks, you can always ask them there. Thank you very much for watching this video and for taking part in this crochet along, and I will see you next week. Bye!